Hi, this is Dr. Vijay Chidravar. I am Professor of Pharmacology and Director of Research and Development Unit at Raghavendra Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, India. Today we'll discuss about the plagiarism and the types of plagiarism and what the way we can avoid the plagiarism. Plagiarism can be defined in the different ways, but the most accepted method it is by the as per the Merriam-Webster dictionary define plagiarism as the thief and use of other people's idea or words as yours, use of the sources without attribution, presenting same ideas as their own and as it is new while this idea already exists in other sources. This is all coming under the plagiarism. So first of all, we should not thief the ideas from the people. If it is so, then we should write the proper references at the end of sentences to give the proper credit to the author from where the idea has been taken or text has been taken. Later, the presenting the idea in the paper or in the conferences, it is also coming under the plagiarism. And the person who do this, they are called as the plagiarist. Plagiarism can be divided into two main types. One is called as the intentional plagiarism, other is called as the unintentional plagiarism. Intentional plagiarism occurs when the author deliberately or intentionally or knowingly copies entire text, paragraph or data and present as its own. It is done by intentionally, they know the law of plagiarism, still the people they do so. And second is called as unintentional, occurs when the author either is not aware of such research and is unaware of the ethics in the writing or does not know how to cite and thus present similar articles. This generally happens to the new beginners, those who are just started writing the articles and they don't know about the law of plagiarism, and it is coming under the unintentional plagiarism. Let us see the various types of the plagiarism. Types of plagiarisms are many, like the global plagiarism, verbatim plagiarism, source plagiarism, mosaic or patch writing plagiarism, paraphrasing plagiarism, self plagiarism, ghostwriting, collusional, as well as others. There are various types of plagiarisms are there. I will walk you through all the different types with examples. Now, next, one is called as the verbatim plagiarism, also called a text or word or ideas or idea plagiarism. Now, the most form of the plagiarism is of the text known as the copy cut paste or word to word writing, where incomplete sentences, paragraph, table, or even the pictures are reproduced without acknowledgement. Now, this words sometimes many authors they take the read the many articles and content of their interest, they will copy it from them and they will try to prepare their own manuscript by pasting the content in their documents. So this may be happened by sometime few sentences or sometime a complete paragraph that the plagiarist copy, and at the end of that they will not even put the references or telling the from there the information has been taken. So copying a portion of the text from another source without giving the credit to its author and without enclosing the borrowed content into the quotation marks. So whatever the content we have borrowed, that must be mentioned into the quotation mark if the paraphrasing is not done. So it is indicating that the author has taken this content from somewhere else. Or if it is a paraphrasing is done, then it is essential to write the references at the end of the content. In both the conditions we must put the references, but it is not done in this kind of the plagiarism called as a verbatim plagiarism. Now, the next is source plagiarism. This happens when a writer does not cite a source fully or accurately. Now, this happens when the same information is available into different articles. Author supposed to be write both the authors from where the information has been taken. But here in case author may cite only one article and other he may neglect. It is coming under the source plagiarism. But if you see, this could mean stating a fact that supports by two different sources but only mentioning the one of them. It is coming under the source plagiarism. Later, we can also this source plagiarism is also found into the primary and secondary information. Like primary information is that the author, he has created or he has got the information by doing some interviews, surveys, or some pilot studies. And secondary information is available readily in the published manuscripts, books and literatures. But here in case of art, author may mention as a primary source of information, but it is in the secondary source, so it is coming under the source plagiarism. Ideally, the author must supposed to write the accurate source from where the information has been taken. In this case, the author supposed to write the secondary source if the author has not done any primary work. Now next is the mosaic or patch writing plagiarism. This happens when a new author uses the previous article text by replacing, reordering or rephrasing the words or sentences to give it new look without acknowledging the original author. So this happens when the authors they try to use many articles and the text from the different sources, and they copy the text or sometimes the complete paragraph from one particular article, and they try to rephrase it by using the synonyms or by using some different other words without changing the meaning of the overall idea of the text or the paragraph. In the mosaic, plagiarism occurs when the students borrows the phrases from a source without using the quotation marks. It is very important, quotation marks. When we take the any sentences or the conclusion by the any articles or the earlier researchers, we supposed to mention it in the quotation mark, and obviously we supposed to mention the citation from where the content has been taken. So the students they may not using this quotation mark or find synonyms for the author's language while keeping to the same general structure and mentioning the of the original. So here this happens, it is all coming under the mosaic plagiarism. Here the author can mention some ideas or some text from his side and making the paragraph of the overall finding of the studies. Like they can use the text from the other many articles and they can use their own ideas in the text to make a paragraph. So it is all coming under the mosaic or patch writing. Here also, whatever the suppose you are using synonyms or using the rephrasing the content, you're supposed to mention the references at the end of the text to give the credits from where the text has been taken. Sometimes it is also called a patch writing. This kind of paraphrasing is intentional and it is academically dishonest and punishable. Actually, this is intentional plagiarism. Author knows that I am copying the content from the other articles and I'm not giving the credits, means it is totally coming under the punishable plagiarism. One famous example here is there, original author, suppose he has mentioned, my mama always said life was like a box of chocolate, you never know what you are gonna get. It is original content by mentioned by the author in the paper, but the plagiarist who can take the content and he can write, my mom always said life was a box of chocolates, you don't know what you will get. So without changing the meaning of the overall this the original text, the plagiarist they change the only the word synonyms and paraphrasing, he wrote the content, and at the end the author not mentioned the author name references from where the content has been taken. It is coming under the patch or the mosaic plagiarism. Moving to the next slide now. Now next called as a paraphrasing plagiarism. Here it is almost same like the mosaic plagiarism, but in case of the paraphrasing plagiarism, the difference is that the copied work isn't mixed in with new concepts and research. Here the person only take the information from the other sources and he will not put any ideas from his own. So it is only called as the paraphrasing without putting the idea. But in the mosaic plagiarism, the author can write his own ideas in the text, blending it with the other lines of the content what he has copied. When you paraphrase the original idea in your own words, the borrowed material stays the same without the new piece. That is coming under the paraphrasing plagiarism. Now coming to the next type, self-plagiarism. This happens when the author has added research on a previously published article, book, contributed chapter, journal and present it as a new without acknowledging the first article or taking the permission from the previous publisher. Here the author can get the second credit of the same work, like he has published one article of similar type or similar area of research, and he is writing the new article without citing the earlier article, that some method or information is taken from the same earlier article. So author want to take the more credit for the same work. For example, a researcher inserts sections of the text from an earlier published manuscript. Let's take the example of method section in a new manuscript without citing the earlier work. So it is coming under self-plagiarism. This is also punishable plagiarism, and this is not encouraged. Many times what happens, long study will be conducted, many parameters, many kind of information it is collected during the research, and author may try to publish the information in 2 or 3 different phases by keeping the 3 different articles. So it is called as the salami slicing. Submission of same article to multiple journals to increase the chances of publication or making multiple articles from single article. It is called as the salami slicing. Is another form of the plagiarism. Now, ideally, when the article is ready to publish, it should be submitted to the one particular journal, and after the decision of this journal, either it is accepted, rejected, or accepted with some modification, until you got some decision from the first article, the author suppose should not be submit the article to the other journal. So this generally it is done by many people to get the more chances of acceptance. Moreover, as I said that salami slicing means when there is a large data is publishing, author will try to publish in the small sections to get the more credit for the same research. It is all coming under the self plagiarism. Now, the next type is the ghostwriting plagiarism. It is quite interesting. In this type, the main contributor is not given due acknowledgement, or sometime who has not contributed is given due credit. So this may happens like when an individual contributes to a manuscript, or suppose the individual is involved into the experimental portion of the research but does not get any credit for it. His name will not be there in the author list anywhere. Or sometime other way, what happens when an individual get credits without contributing to the work, irrespective to the preparing the manuscript or doing some or helping in the experiment. In that, without doing anything, author may get their name in the author list of the published article. It is coming under the ghostwriting plagiarism. Now the next is collusional. In this type of malpractices, in this type the author asks a professional agent or institution to write an article and then claims as its own. Now we can see many agencies are there, they are helping for scientific writing. The author can tell the his area of research and interest, in which area he want to write an article and to publish. Then that agency, they will write the content for them and they will send this to the author, and author can directly communicate the same to the journal by writing his name only. So this is also academically unethical, and this should not be encouraged. It is coming under the collusional plagiarism. Now coming to the next type, accidental plagiarism. Here, whether intended or unintended, there is no excuse for plagiarism, and the consequences are often the same. It is called as the accidental plagiarism. Either it is intentionally or it is unintentionally, but there are no change in the consequences. However, the plagiarism may be accidental if it occurred because of neglect, mistake, or unintended paraphrasing. It is called as the accidental plagiarism. Generally, it is done by the students or those who are beginners for writing the articles. Like students are likely to commit the accidental plagiarism. So university should stress on the importance of education about this form of the plagiarism. It is one of the essential subject in the master's level now, to educate the student about the plagiarism and techniques to avoid the plagiarism, or the steps should be taken to avoid the plagiarism. Now next, the other types of plagiarism. Here the clone, control C, retweet, error 404, aggregator, and find replace plagiarisms are there, and so many are there under this. A clone means what? Submitting someone else work which is just transcript as his or own. It is also called as the global plagiarism. Next is the control C, contains most of the text from original source without alteration. Just they'll copy the text and paste as such, and from the one particular content they take the content information and they try to publish under their name. Now next, retweet includes the proper citation but with too much text used from the original. Here author give proper credit, but they took most of the content, near about 70%, 80% of the all content they took from the one particular manuscript. It is called as the retweet. Error 404 includes the quoting non-existing or the inaccurate sources. Here the author give the quotations or references at the end of sentences, but that references are not existing at all. Aggregator here includes the proper citation of sources but contains almost nothing of their own work. Like it is called as paraphrasing. They took the content from the different sources, they give proper citations, but they don't add anything from their side. Just it is paraphrasing and citing the references and taking a lot of data from the other sources. Find and replace, changing the keywords and phrases but retaining the substantial part, the content of the primary sources. Just by changing the few words, by name of the few drugs, or change the new names of the few important words, they will make the article. It is coming under the find and replace. The other plagiarism which I mentioned before, these are the other remaining type, called as the e-mix, recycle, hybrid, and mashup types. Again, these are the different types or different techniques to avoid the plagiarism. Now next. Now coming to the plagiarism report. How, from where we can get the plagiarism report? What are the various softwares to know the plagiarism, their percentage, what are the words, what are the sources from where the content has been taken. There are many softwares, some are free and some are paid. Paid softwares are giving the better results and more accurate information compared to the free softwares. And if you see the report of plagiarism, we can see all the lines may be colored, many lines will be colored which are plagiarized, and at the end of every line they can see some numbers, and that numbers indicates the from where the information has been taken, and at the end of the report we can see percentage, how much total content is plagiarized. So we'll see all this in the coming slides. Now it is one example of the global plagiarism. Here we can see the author has copied entire text from other articles, and nothing it is from the other article, so it is coming into one color only. If it is taken from the different sources, we can see the different colors and numbers here. We can say at the top here superscript 1 number is there, means the article, or it is taken from the one particular article. It is called as the global plagiarism. Now next is the verbatim plagiarism. In this type of the plagiarism, here the content is completely copy and pasted without going for the paraphrasing or nothing is done. It is totally copy and pasted from other articles. Here we can see the article number 3. From this article the content has been taken, like something from the article number 1 and most of it is from the article number 3. It is called as a verbatim plagiarism. Now next is the mosaic or the patchwork plagiarism. As the name indicating, the patches, we can see the different colors here. This line is taken from the one article, this from the other article, this from the other article, like article number 9, 13, 9, 11, 10. The content has been taken from the different sources. So some patches we can see. So it is called as the example of mosaic or the patchwork plagiarism. Next is the self plagiarism. It is coming in the green color. It is indicating that author has been taken the content from the same sources, from the sources where he has authored the manuscript, earlier manuscript. The content is copied from his earlier manuscript, so it is coming in green color. It is called as the self plagiarism. The next is paraphrasing plagiarism. Here the content has been copied from the other sources, but here we can see it is not colored. So it is indicating the content has been taken, they are paraphrased. So it is difficult to detect by the any software. So it is called as the paraphrasing plagiarism. But here why it is plagiarism is, here the author has not quoted the citation or references from where it is taken, called as the paraphrasing plagiarism. Now next, accidental plagiarism. Here the content has been taken, some lines, some words are there from the different sources. Okay, it is taken by accidentally by author, so it is called as accidental plagiarism. Self plagiarism and accidental plagiarisms are not much hardly punishable. They are not punished hard compared to the mosaic or the global or patch plagiarism. Now next is the where are the these are the various websites and programs available to check the plagiarisms. These are the available websites from where we can come to know what is the content of plagiarism in the article, like the cross check, w copy, then the viper, then this turnitin. Many are there. Among these all, turnitin is more popular. It can give the more accurate results, and many journals they use Turnitin before go for the peer review process, and it is advisable to go for the plagiarism check before submitting to the article to avoid the troubles. Now next, now finally we'll discuss about the common ways to avoid plagiarism. As I said in my earlier slide that it is always wise to check your plagiarism before submitting the article to the journal. If the plagiarism percentage it is low, say 5%, 6%, then only you can communicate the article to the good indexed journals. Here there are some common ways to avoid plagiarism. Always acknowledge the original sources of the idea, text or illustration. Here from where the data has been taken, always we should acknowledge them, and I should quote the reference at the end of the sentences. Enclose within quotation mark all the text that has been copied verbatim from the another source. If the some conclusions are taken from the other articles, or any kind of quotations are taken or a kind of sentence are taken, it is always we can put the quotation mark, and we should acknowledge the author from where the content has been taken. When paraphrasing, you use your own words. Always write the content original by using your own idea and thoughts. When not sure if the idea or fact they wish to include a common knowledge, cite the references. It is always better to cite the references. Suppose you are not sure that the idea is common, or suppose same idea is known by someone else, so it is better to cite the reference here. One must cite references accurately. The writer must read the instructions to the author to know what style they need to use, either Vancouver style or the Harvard style. Whatever the style it is, we should follow the author instruction. We should follow the author instruction as well as the style of the referencing. That must be mandatory to get publication into the journal. Avoid writing multiple separate articles if he can present a large complex study in the cohesive manner in a single article. Don't go for the slicing the main study in the to get 2 or 3 articles from the same study. If it is long enough, many parameters are studied, still it is better to publish as single study in a cohesive manner. Along with the manuscript, submit a cover letter to the author clearly stating any instances of overlapping from the previously publications and asking for the advice. So it is, if you are not sure what can be done, if they have taken the content from the earlier article, suppose you're not finding the references from where you have taken the information, Suppose anything is not sure, it is better to write this to the editor and ask for his advice. So these are the various common ways to avoid the plagiarism. Thank you. Thanks for your patience and listening to my lecture. Thank you.